in Final Destination Bloodlines, Death returns to finish what it started decades ago, when a young woman begins having terrifying visions connected to a 1969 disaster. As mysterious accidents strike one by one, the survivors of an ancient premonition face their fate in an unstoppable chain of doom. This time, Death has a score to settle with an entire family. The movie opens in 1969. A couple, Paul and Iris, are on a date. Iris is blindfolded as Paul guides her into Skyview, a dazzling new high-rise restaurant. Iris is amazed by the height of the tower, but something about the place makes her uneasy. As they explore, Iris sees a young boy stealing a penny from a wishing fountain. A guard attempts to stop him, but the kid runs off. Later, the couple enters an elevator, and the same boy joins them. He unnerves Iris by talking about how high up they are, then stomps on the glass floor, trying to scare her. When they reach the bar, a bartender opens a wine bottle and the cork hits a chandelier. A shard from the glass falls and creates a crack in the glass floor, adding to Iris's growing sense of dread. Iris steps away to the bathroom, where she becomes ill, revealing she's pregnant. A woman in the bathroom, a singer performing that night, notices Iris and gently encourages her to share the news with Paul. Iris returns to Paul, but struggles to find the right moment to talk. Eventually, they ascend to the observation deck. There, Paul proposes to Iris. At the same time, the same mischievous boy is spotted throwing pennies from the top of the tower. One of the coins drops into a ventilation shaft, where it's sucked into a fan, triggering a malfunction that causes a gas leak in the restaurant. As Iris and Paul celebrate, the glass dance floor suddenly gives way. Guests fall through the collapsing floor. Paul is one of the first to perish. A stray flame ignites the gas leak, creating a deadly explosion. Chaos erupts. People are burned, crushed, and thrown from the building. Iris, struggling to survive, attempts to escape. The overloaded elevator crashes, slicing a man in half. Staircases collapse. Guests are pinned against windows by failing supports. One of the falling pennies hits a piano, launching it through the windows and into the crowd. The young boy, who had seemed to escape, is crushed by that same piano. Among the destruction, Iris sees the singer's son still alive. She rushes to save him, crawling across crumbling concrete. The floor collapses beneath them. They cling to a ledge, but Iris's ring gets caught. The strain tears her finger, and both she and the boy fall. The child dies. Iris is impaled through the mouth by a massive shard of glass. Suddenly, the scene cuts to the present. Stefani Reyes awakens in her classroom, screaming. She's been having this premonition as a recurring nightmare. Her grades are suffering, and she suspects there's something deeper. She learns that Iris, the woman from her vision, was her grandmother. Seeking answers, her roommate advises her to return home and confront her family's past. Stefani travels back and reunites with her father, Marty, and younger brother, Charlie. Marty avoids any talk of Iris, blaming her for the family's unraveling. Charlie, bitter that Stefani left for college and rarely stayed in touch, keeps his distance. Later, Stefani visits her cousins Julia, Eric, and Bobby Campbell, driving Charlie along. It's clear Charlie feels more connected to them than to Stefani. Later, Stefani meets her Uncle Howard and Aunt Brenda. She brings up her disturbing dreams and asks about Iris. Howard becomes angry, labeling Iris disturbed, but Stefani insists that meeting Iris might bring her peace. Howard eventually reveals that after surviving the Skyview disaster, Iris became obsessed with death. Her paranoia damaged the family, especially her children. That night, Brenda quietly gives Stefani a box of letters Iris had written over the years, warnings about death. Among them is a photo of Iris and Paul at Skyview. Using clues in the letters, Stefani locates Iris, now living in isolation in a fortified house in the woods. When Stefani arrives, Iris is hostile at first. But when Stefani tells her she's her granddaughter, Iris relents and invites her in only after demanding that she leave her phone and keys in a lockbox. Inside, Iris reveals she's been living in complete isolation for decades. She's dying of cancer and has documented everything about death's pattern since 1969. Stefani tells her about the Skyview dreams. Iris corrects her it wasn't a dream, it was her own premonition. She shows Stefani a journal filled with notes, timelines, and theories. Death, she says, has been trying to clean up ever since she cheated it. Iris begs Stefani to stay with her in the locked compound, claiming it's the only safe place. But Stefani, overwhelmed and skeptical, it tries to leave. Iris hands her the journal as a parting gift. Just then, a freak accident sends a fire extinguisher tumbling into a weather vane, launching it across the yard. It pierces Iris's skull, killing her instantly. At Iris's funeral, Stefani's mother Darlene appears, having lived a transient life in an RV. Stefani confronts her for abandoning the family. Charlie defends Darlene, calling out Stefani for abandoning them too when she left for college. The family hosts a memorial barbecue at the Campbell house, where Howard raises a toast, encouraging them to appreciate life while it lasts. During the gathering, several ominous events unfold. A faulty gas tank nearly ignites near Eric, a broken rake lies beneath Bobby's trampoline, and a glass shard ends up in someone's drink. Darlene notices the rake and moves it, but a bottle dislodges a hose nearby. Back at home, Stefani flips through Iris's journal. A gust of wind knocks over a photo, and a shard lands inches from her. Realizing death is coming, she rushes to the barbecue. She arrives moments too late. Bobby's trampoline rips, Howard steps on the upright shard of glass, and the lawnmower is triggered by the falling rake. It rolls into Howard's face, killing him. At Howard's funeral, a somber silence lingers in the air. Stefani, holding back tears, gathers the remaining family members and takes a deep breath. With everyone present, she finally reveals what Iris had spent her entire life researching. Pulling out the weathered journal Iris left behind, Stefani explains the horrifying truth. Death has been systematically targeting their bloodline. Ever since Iris survived the Skyview disaster decades ago, every other survivor and their descendants have been hunted down and eliminated. Only one person besides Iris managed to escape death's wrath, an elusive man named JD, who, incredibly, is still alive. But now, it's their turn. Eric, Bobby, Julia, Darlene, Stefani herself, and Charlie, they're all on death's list. Not by chance, but because they were never meant to be born. Their very existence disrupted death's design, and now fate is resetting the balance. Later, at the tattoo parlor where Eric works, a disturbing chain of events begins. Eric, going about his usual routine, barely escapes what could have been a brutal death. As he adjusts equipment in the back room, a ceiling fan overhead malfunctions. The dangling chains from the ceiling catch onto the piercings on his face, yanking him upward. Simultaneously, a small fire ignites due to spilled isopropyl alcohol. For a moment, it looks like this could be the end, but Eric's heavy leather jacket absorbs most of the heat and shields him from serious injury. The following day, as still brushing off the event, Eric dismisses Stefani's warnings as superstition. Laughing it off, he sarcastically challenges Death's plan by walking right into traffic, almost getting hit by a speeding ambulance. He smirks, thinking he's invincible. But reality hits hard and fast. Julia, unaware that her time has come, is standing near a group of kids playing soccer. One of the children kicks a ball, which slams into Julia, knocking her backwards. She stumbles and topples into a trash bin. In a matter of seconds, a garbage truck pulls up, lifts the bin, and dumps it inside. Stefani, Charlie, and Eric immediately react. They sprint after the truck, shouting and banging on its side, trying desperately to alert the driver. But the driver, wearing noise-canceling headphones and blasting loud music, doesn't hear a thing. Stefani manages to climb onto the side of the truck, clawing her way toward the compactor controls, but it's too late. The mechanism activates, and Julia is crushed before Stefani can stop it. The only thing left of her are her lifeless arms, hanging from the edge, and they fall into Stefani's hands. The horror is too much to deny anymore. Now the death's grip is undeniable. The family turns to the journal for guidance. Brenda, overwhelmed with grief, quietly shares a detail no one had known before. Eric isn't Howard's biological son. That explains why Death had skipped him. He isn't part of Iris's bloodline. Realizing they need help and fast, Stefani brings up JD again. Darlene, deep in thought, suddenly remembers the name from her childhood. JD was someone Iris had talked about, a man who had also escaped Skyview and later changed his name. His real name is William Bloodworth. The remaining family travels to the hospital where JD now works. Inside, they finally meet the man behind the myth. JD, now going by William Bloodworth, is calm, composed, and deeply familiar with what they're going through. He confirms everything Stefani says. He was the child Iris saved during the Skyview catastrophe. Over the years, she found him, and they became allies, documenting and studying Death's patterns together. But now, Bloodworth is old, tired, and sick with cancer. He tells them what he's told many before: Death cannot be cheated forever. There are only two known ways to break the cycle. One, kill someone to take the rest of their life. Or two, die and be medically revived. But even those methods are temporary. When Stefani begs for his help, Bloodworth declines. His time is ending, just like Iris's. He's done running. He gently advises them to spend whatever time they have left wisely. Then he retires from his post and disappears down the hospital hallway, leaving them with no one else to turn to. Back in the hospital, desperation takes over. Eric and Bobby, terrified and without options, start to consider the unthinkable. As they roam the halls, they come across a newborn baby. A horrifying thought enters Eric's mind: they could end the baby's life and possibly take its remaining years for themselves. But standing there, watching the innocent infant, they both pull back in disgust. They can't do it. Instead, they come up with a new plan. Bobby has a severe peanut allergy. If he eats a peanut product and Eric revives him in time, it might count as cheating death. Eric tries to buy peanut butter cups from a vending machine, but the coil jams. Frustrated and frantic, he smashes the glass and grabs the candy. They head to the MRI room, thinking they'll be alone. But in their panic, they don't realize the machine is still active. Bobby eats the peanut butter cup and begins going into anaphylactic shock. Eric prepares to revive him, but the magnet activates. The powerful pull rips the metal piercings from Eric's face. Before he can react, a wheelchair is sucked into the machine with violent force, slamming into Eric and killing him instantly. Barely conscious, Bobby crawls to Eric's body and grabs the EpiPen. He stabs himself in the leg and gasps as his airways begin to reopen. But the chaos isn't over. The broken vending machine, still rigged from earlier, suddenly fires the candy coil like a bullet. It launches directly into Bobby's head, killing him on the spot. A nurse walks in and screams at the bloody scene. Just as Stefani, Charlie, and Darlene rush in and witness the aftermath. Only 3 remain now. Darlene makes a bold and selfless decision. She returns to Iris's compound and locks herself inside, cutting off access to Stefani and Charlie. As long as she's alive and in isolation, she reasons death can't reach the others, but fate finds a way. Back outside, the RV has landed in a nearby pond, water pouring in through the broken windshield. Stefani, still trapped by the seatbelt, struggles to stay above the rising water. At the last second, Charlie smashes the window and pulls her out. Gasping for air, they stagger to the shore and embrace, thinking they've finally broken death's chain. Days pass. Things seem quiet. Stefani prepares to return to college while Charlie gets ready for his prom. Life, for a moment, feels normal. Together, they visit a family friend, a doctor who shares something troubling. Technically, Stefani was never clinically dead during her brush with death. Her heart never stopped. She was simply revived. That means her name is still on death's list. As Stefani leaves the clinic, a strange chill runs down her spine. She notices familiar signs: an overhead wire shaking, a penny rolling across the floor, the faint sound of screeching metal. Suddenly, a train derails nearby and barrels toward them at terrifying speed. Stefani and Charlie run for their lives. The train screeches to a stop just behind them, but the danger isn't over. Logs from atop the train shift and come tumbling down. Both siblings are crushed instantly. The film closes with newspaper clippings. Each headline marks the tragic death of another victim connected to the original Skyview premonition. And in the end, a final clipping confirms the last names on the list: Stefani and Charlie Reyes.